Ever since they've been released, there's been a lot of talk online concerning the Star Wars prequel trilogy. Released between 1999 and 2005, these three movies chronicled the rise and fall of Anakin Skywalker and his transformation into Darth Vader as we saw him in the original trilogy. Fans that weren't a fan of these three movies have been very vocal about such online, marking the prequel trilogy as a blight on the Star Wars timeline. To others, however, the prequel trilogy gave rise to an era of storytelling arguably more popular in the modern day than the beloved original trilogy, the Clone Wars. First mentioned in A New Hope, the Clone Wars was a period of time where the galaxy found itself at war, where the Galactic Republic fought the separatist movement known as the Confederacy of Independent Systems. Fighting on the front lines for the Republic were the Clone Troopers, genetic copies of the bounty hunter Jango Fett. The Clone Wars TV show bent over backwards to give the clones individual personalities and identities as opposed to making them mindless killing machines. Early works in the Clone Wars era from the non-canon expanded universe such as the 2D Clone Wars micro-series featured the clones this way, making the years in between the releases of Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith hard to get a grasp on clones as characters. While the Clone Wars TV series is highly credited with fleshing out the clones as characters, it wasn't the first Star Wars media to do so. Enter Star Wars Republic Commando, released on the original Xbox and PC in the year 2005. The video game and its series of tied novels delved into the world of the clones, making them the main characters of the story as opposed to the Jedi generals gallivanting around with their lightsabers. While the game was met with positive reception at the time of its release, it largely faded into obscurity to the wider Star Wars audience in the years since. While it's been available to play on more modern machines thanks to Xbox backwards compatibility and being available digitally on Steam for PC, many who would want to play this game have been relegated to watching old Let's Plays from the past. Until now, that is. Aspyr Media, a port studio, has partnered with Lucasfilm Games to port several older Star Wars games to modern consoles already, such as Star Wars Racer and the Jedi Knight games. Now they've brought Republic Commando to both the PS4, PS5 via backwards compatibility, and the Nintendo Switch, making it accessible to a generation of players that grew up in the era of the Clone Wars as their main source of Star Wars media. So, today we're going to be taking a look at how the game holds up a little over 15 years since its release. Fear feck, I'm old.
Welcome, little one. This is your first day. Your designation will be RP-01/138. We expect great things from you.
The game puts players in the boots and helmet of RC-1138, or Boss. Boss is the squad leader of Delta Squad, an elite unit of clone commandos trained by Mandalorian training sergeants that knew Jango Fett. Alongside him are his pod brothers, RC-1140, or Fixer, the squad's slicer, RC-1262, or Scorch, the squad's demolitions expert, and RC-1207, or Sev, the squad's sniper and resident psychopath. Each member of the squad brings their own unique personality and voice to the game, portraying how the clones identify each other in groups when all anyone else hears is the same voice. The game is comprised of 3 separate campaigns split into chapters. The first is at the beginning of the war during the Battle of Geonosis. The next, a salvage operation on board a Republic assault ship that went missing, and finally a trek through the jungles of Kashyyyk right before the start of Revenge of the Sith. Each area of the game helps bring a unique presence to the game that keeps it feeling fresh as you navigate through each new environment. Along the way, Delta Squad will encounter a variety of different enemies. The Separatists launch wave after wave of disposable battle droids at you, ranging from the comical B-1s, the imposing B-2 super battle droids, the roly-poly droidicas, and even the ill-named dwarf spider droids. Each different droid poses a different threat, as B-1s aren't an issue individually, but use swarm tactics to overwhelm their foes. The super battle droids are larger and more heavily armored, making them the heavy hitter of the Separatist army. A single SPD can be a hassle to take down, so things get really hairy whenever multiple of them attack you at once. Destroyer droids and spider droids don't attack as often, being occasional challenges rather than constant nuisances. But while droids themselves might be a problem to deal with, there's a variety of alien life to worry about as well. Since the opening of the game takes place on Geonosis, the native Geonosians swarm with pikes, while elite drones attack from the sky with a powerful beam weapon. Later in the game, the lizard-like Trandoshans arrive on the scene, slavers and mercenaries that face off against the squad for money and Wookiee pelts. Unlike more realistic shooters such as Call of Duty, each enemy type behaves differently, with the differences being between them more than just a weapon in their hands. You and the squad have to tackle each engagement differently, as the laser-spongy Trandoshan slavers will eat up your ammo as they rush you with knives and shotguns, and B-1 battle droids simply charge you in a line. Thankfully, the game has a clever tactical nature to it. As squad leader, Boss can order his men around levels, telling them to attack aggressively, defend certain positions, or take up sniping positions. All of these commands are issued with ease thanks to the squad command system and the smart teammate AI. While sniping, the squad will prioritize headshots and focus on doing as much damage as possible while in an anti-armor position. This makes eliminating squads of super battle droids much easier as one or more of your squad members attack with heavy weapons. I was worried that the game might feel its age, but while the gameplay is slow for sure, it doesn't feel clunky. Like Destiny and Halo before it, Republic Commando makes you feel like a heavily armored tank of a soldier, walking around ready to blast anything in sight. The largest difference is that there's not a sprint or extra magic special powers to add any speed to gameplay. You're pretty much stuck at the same speed, which in other titles might be a problem, but for this game it works great. As Delta Squad mows through enemy units, the energy will be kept up to an 11 thanks to a combination of soundtrack pieces lifted from the, at the time, 5 existing Star Wars films composed by the legendary John Williams, and an original score composed by Jesse Harlan. It's in these original pieces that helped tie Delta Squad to their ancestral home of Mandalore, as the language that was developed for the game would later be expanded into a completely working language thanks to author Karen Traviss and her novel tie-ins to the game.
We've been spotted. Get down there. Move! Delta, give me an explosive solution. I'm on it.
The tone of the game has its roots in the fun pulp space adventures of classic Star Wars stories, but dares to go darker and gritty to fit the special ops feel of combat. The heads-up display is designed to reflect the interior of the Commando's helmet, helping to place you directly in the world and contextualize in-universe the heads-up display effects that usually feature in video games. Ammo counts, squad positions, and health all have a purpose for being there, as they're actively monitoring the squad's status in real time. Aliens will burst into bloody chunks, and goo and oil will splatter on your helmet if you're too close to a dying enemy. While not egregious, characters will also use mild curse words, meaning that, more than most, Republic Commando easily earns its T for Teen title. It's not all darkness or blood and guts though. The game has a very dry sense of humor about it, brought out by the interactions with the squad. Each member's personality plays off of one another extremely well. Boss is the gruff but caring squad leader, with Fixer acting as his right hand and straight man. Scorch is the squad jokester, often cracking jokes and bringing a somewhat sick sense of humor to the proceedings.
Smell.
All I smell is burnt Geonosian.
Gas got the last of them. Guess we know how long Trandoshans can hold their breath. I sense violence in our near future. Rule 23. Never pull sentry duty on an empty stomach. Look, there's fireworks!
The game makes it clear several times that there's something wrong with Sev. He lives for the thrill of the hunt and taking down bad guys, making his job as the team marksman all the more perfect for him.
Man, this place gives me the creeps.
A Scorch, nothing better than a jungle hunt. Hiding in the bush, putting a plasma bolt through a hostile's cranium. Makes me feel alive.
6 powering up now. 07 creeps.
Scorch and Sev bounce off one another perfectly, often making light of the intense situations they find themselves in by competing with their kill counts.
Now I'm really going to rack up the kills.
Not if I get them first.
Just don't get so caught up in counting that you forget to cover me.
It's these interactions that help make the squad feel like a family unit and endears them to the player. As boss, you feel like you're a part of the group, and the little moments help build on that. Graphically, the game isn't the most impressive thing to look at, but it looks better than a lot of games that came before or after it. I dare say that in a lot of ways, Republic Commando holds up better graphically than the original release of Call of Duty 4 or early PS3 games such as Infamous and Uncharted Drake's Fortune. It says a lot for the old team at LucasArts that worked on the game. The only thing that doesn't translate well to modern times is the default control scheme that can easily be updated in the options, as most everything is remappable. The only feature not returning from the original release is the multiplayer, as the servers were turned off years ago when GameSpy went under. While I miss the multiplayer mode being there, it is a bit archaic looking back, and while it might have given players a temporary bout of nostalgia for how multiplayer games were handled back in the day, I don't know if people would stick around for that long. It's interesting looking at why they chose to re-release this now, and I wonder if it's a prelude to something more in the near future. Previous re-releases of classic Star Wars games haven't amounted to much, but it is interesting to look at what's going on as of the time that this is being put out. Lucasfilm has been focusing a lot more on its legacy stuff, with the 2D micro-series, the animated Boba Fett short from the infamous 1978 Star Wars Holiday Special, and classic Ewoks content all getting put on Disney Plus for everyone to see. Now we have a game from the pre-TV show Clone Wars era getting released again almost concurrently when the other Clone Wars TV shows made widely available on Disney Plus, not to mention that the spiritual successors to Delta Squad, the Bad Batch, are imminently getting their own TV series. So it makes me wonder if Delta Squad or other barely canon characters are going to be getting the spotlight in the near future. Dirge from the micro-series is going to be appearing in comics soon, and Delta Squad is canon thanks to a very brief appearance in Season 3 of Clone Wars. So while all this happening may just be a coincidence, there's too much lining up for my liking as of now to completely write it off. So does that mean that a canonized sequel to the game is coming? Is Delta going to appear in the Bad Batch since it has a focus on Special Forces clone troopers? I don't know, but re-releasing their biggest appearance would be a great way to reacquaint the Star Wars audience with these characters if they're going to be doing that stuff soon. So, with all that said, what's the best deal for this game? Well, while it might be old, Republic Commando has aged phenomenally. It might not be the prettiest game out there anymore, but if you're looking for a tactical shooter, a trip down memory lane, or a good dose of Clone Wars era action straight into your bloodstream, there's no way you can go wrong with the $15 asking price. So, form up if you haven't already, and let's hope that we see Delta Squad reporting for action again sometime soon.